rental places of immigrants. I have people in my district that are in rental houses that I wouldn't rent to anybody. They're not expensive. They're probably $500 or $600 a month. You think people that can barely afford housing like that's the housing that we're talking about when we talk about the housing crisis?
D properties push up the price of C properties. Inflation in C properties pushes up the price of A properties. Inflation in the price of A property. B properties pushes up A properties. So it moves up the stack. And if you think that somehow the laws of supply and demand do not apply to housing, I would say you're incorrect.
And also, this caller brought up the population growth, and this is from the U.S. Census Bureau from just last month, January 27th, with this headline: U.S. population growth slows due to historic decline in net international migration. You can see that at census.gov. That's a U.S. government website if you want to read about that and look at the actual numbers on the population growth. Gary, Sterling, Virginia, Republican. Hi, Gary.
Hi, baby. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
All right. I understand that. I feel the same way, just halfway. The thing I'd like to talk about is in 92, I worked I knew 5 teenage girls that were pregnant. One of them was embraced by her family at church. The other 4 were not so much. In fact, 14 years later, I ran into all of them again, and 3 of them offered to let me spend time alone with their children. And one offered to, said I could stick anything in their mouths.
This is Mike in Oregon, Independent Line. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'm calling about immigration. We always seem to be concerned about the undocumented immigrants, but what about doing it legal? I mean, I've been working on a legal visa with my wife, got married 2 years ago.
WCSP-FM, Washington.
18 months with no results. I mean, isn't that important also?
So, Mike, yeah, explain, does that, so she does not have a green card yet?
No, she hasn't even had an interview with the consulate in Bogota. I mean, it's been 18 months.
Oh, so she's still in Colombia. She is not here in the United States.
She's not here. I can't get her here because I can't get an interview.
Even though you guys are married?
Yes, we are married. We've been married for over 2 years. We filed in September of 2024. And we still have no results. Isn't that important also? But all we hear on the news and on C-SPAN is about the undocumented immigrants. Nothing about doing it legally. I mean, no wonder they come here illegally. I mean, if it takes 2 years to get your wife to America, doing it legally, I mean, and, you know, I've been down there 3 times. I can only stay for 6 months at a time. Every calendar year, you're only allowed 6 months. And, you know, we can't get her here. Isn't that important also? But we don't hear anything about that. It's always the undocumented immigrants.
I wonder, Mike, if you've reached out to your elected officials.
I have, and I've been told by my congresswoman that, oh, I can't do anything, you're not in my district. I reached out to one in my district, Susan Bonamici. I talked to both my senators, not talked to, I've emailed several times, but messages on their phones, and have heard nothing. That's the way the government seems to work now.
All right, and this is Carl, Republican, Maryland. Good morning.
Hi, Amy. I just wanted to say thank you very much for what you moderators do. I'm a regular listener, and I realize you guys are faced with opposing points of opinions, and often they are very strong opinions. And it struck me this morning that you guys do an excellent job at maintaining composure and your temper, and I just think that's very great. I think it should be acknowledged that you guys, you moderators, do a great job. So I just wanted to call in and say thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl. And And President Trump will be participating in the National Prayer Breakfast later this morning. And later on the show, we'll hear from the religious community, how the religious community is reacting to the Trump administration's actions with Interfaith Alliance's Reverend Paul Brandeis Rauschenbusch. But coming up next, author and law professor Jonathan Turley will discuss his new book, Rage and the Republic, which looks at the impact of the American Revolution. That's coming up right after the break.
Past president, why are you doing this? This is outrageous.
This is a threat the root.
Fridays, C-SPAN presents a rare moment of unity, Ceasefire, where the shouting stops and the conversation begins. Politico Playbook chief correspondent and White House bureau chief Dasha Burns is host of Ceasefire, bringing two leaders from opposite sides of the aisle into a dialogue. Ceasefire on the network that doesn't take sides. Fridays at 7 and 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, only on C-SPAN.
Every Sunday on C-SPAN 2 features leading authors discussing their latest nonfiction books. Coming up this weekend, we'll feature chef and former food policy advisor to Barack Obama, Sam Kass, on his plan for making the food system more sustainable with his book, The Last Supper, at 1 p.m. Eastern. Then at 7 p.m. Eastern, it's America's Book Club. Pulitzer Prize-winning author John Meacham joins David Rubenstein to discuss his biographies of Thomas Jefferson, Andrew Jackson, and George H.W. Bush. At 9:20 p.m. Eastern, author Howard French discusses his book, The Second Emancipation, on Ghanaian President Kwame Nkrumah's role in the Pan-African movement of the 1950s and 60s. And at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, Nicholas Boggs examines the life and activism of writer James Baldwin in his biography, Baldwin, A Love Story. Watch Book TV every Sunday on C-SPAN 2 and find a full schedule on your program guide or watch online anytime at booktv.org.
Washington Journal continues.
Welcome back to Washington Journal. We're joined by Jonathan Turley. He's author of the book called Rage and the Republic. He's a law professor at the George Washington University Law School and a Fox News contributor. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Let's start with the title of your book. The full title is Rage and the Republic, Unfinished Story of the American Revolution. What do you mean that it's unfinished?
Well, we're looking at challenges in the 21st century that we have never encountered before. The first half of the book looks at what went into the creation of this unique republic and the personalities and the events that came together. It looks at two revolutions, the American Revolution, the French Revolution. It follows largely the passage of Thomas Paine, who is one of only two people that played a significant role in both revolutions, the other being Lafayette. And Paine is just an exceptionally interesting character. But our revolution was created by these strong, brilliant personalities. Paine was sort of the righteous rage of the American Revolution. He knew what it would take to move a people to rebellion. And then it was James Madison who understood what it would take to move a revolution to a republic. He was sort of the pious logic of the revolution. It was the combination of those two figures and others that created something unique. Our revolution was the first Enlightenment revolution. So the second half of the book asks, can that survive in the 21st century? When I look at robotics, AI, global governance systems, these are challenges that we have not really faced, and certainly not the numbers of job losses that we are about to encounter in the coming years. And the book is optimistic that we can actually thrive in that. But it's going to require us to remember what got us here, why it is that we have the most successful, stable democracy in history, the oldest democracy in history. And it goes back to...
Do you still think it's stable, though? Because I was getting the impression that you felt that there was some instability there and some question about the survival of the republic, if you will.
No, I think that you're right in the sense that I think it's a dangerous conceit that we have done so well for so long that means that we have nothing to worry about. Benjamin Franklin was right. It's a republic for us to keep, and we have to keep it. Every generation has to do that. But we have the tools here in this unique system to survive what's coming. I do